All right, thanks you for tuning in once again. It's Ishmael Sistrunk with the St. Louis American and STLamerican.com here with our Rams Roundup correspondent, Palmer Alexander III. Palmer, we got big news today. Anybody looking at the title can see if you have not heard already. But Palmer, it seems like today that our prayers have been answered. We got to see St. Louis Rams have traded Sam Bradford, a guy who has been injured for a high part of his career, never really lived up fully to expectations. He wasn't a poor quarterback, but he was pretty average, as we talked about. But anyway, St. Louis Rams trade Sam Bradford to the Philadelphia Eagles for Nick Foles. There were a few draft picks that were involved in this deal. The Rams will get Nick Foles, Philly's fourth-round draft pick in 2015, and second-round draft pick in 2016. The Eagles will get Bradford and the Rams' fifth-round pick in 2015. Palmer, as we've talked to the Rams brass, as we've looked at things just unfold over the past couple of years, and especially since the season has ended, all indications from Coach Fisher and from the Rams were that Sam Bradford was Sam Bradford was going to have an opportunity to compete for the starting job, but it seems like just a few days ago we started to hear about a possible trade. What happened? You said you were at Rams Park today when the news became official. Explain how that went and tell us, how did this come about where Bradford is no longer a St. Louis Ram and we have Nick Foles?
Yeah, I think they start to kind of materialize once Sean Hill was signed with the Minnesota Vikings, and it kind of really left the Rams in a real tough position. I think Matt Castles was moved recently, so there's a lot of quarterbacks moving around, and the pickings were pretty slim. And it's no secret that the Philadelphia Eagles really want Marcus Mariota. I kind of hinted at that a week prior in my column, playing fantasy GM. And you know what? I think we should do that, Ishmael. We should ask your people who made the better trade. Did I make the better trade last week, or did Les Snead make the better trade this week, right? I mean, because it pretty much kind of unfolded, in that scenario. And now, the Rams, they got themselves a quarterback looking for a fresh start, and the Rams needed to make a fresh start. I agree with you. I mean, Sam Bradford is a talented quarterback, but, and it just stops right there. He's what you call potential energy. I learned that in science. You got kinetic energy, you got potential energy. He's potential energy because he doesn't move worth a damn. So it was time for the Rams to move in another direction.
Yeah, and the thing that I've always said about Bradford, like you said, he's talented. He has shown some ability to be a quality quarterback, but number one, he can't stay healthy. And even when he has been healthy, he's never lived up to that number one pick. He's never really been a quarterback that you can rely on to win games, or that you're comfortable with to say, hey, this guy can lead us to the playoffs. His ceiling is he might be able to get us to the playoffs, but he's never really been that guy. So for me, it wasn't an issue of disliking Bradford. It was just a matter of, we talked to Orlando Pace. Orlando Pace said it. He's not to be counted on. He gets injured, and he also, when he is performing, he throws a lot of the underneath routes, but is not a guy that can really be a leader that drives you down the field, that when you're in the fourth quarter, you're like, hey, I know that this guy can come through. He did it a little bit, but not enough really to warrant how long he's been here and how much he has been paid. So let's talk about Nick Foles. You said he's that's looking for a new start. He was really a guy when he earned that starting role in Philadelphia. I mean, he blew up. He had an outstanding year, but now he's come back down to earth a little bit. Expectations are lowered. What do you expect from Foles in the Rams' blue and gold?
Well, first of all, Nick Foles is definitely an upgrade from Sam Bradford. Now, with that being said, is Nick Foles the type of guy that's going to be able to elevate this team and this franchise to that next level on the football field? We don't know. But I will say this much. I think once they make this move to get Nick Foles, I can't emphasize how important it is to have a sturdy offensive line that you can be able to count on a regular basis. Because Nick Foles, he's not fleet of foot either. Sometimes he looks like he got cement boots on when he's out there on the field trying to run and extend the play. We saw what he did in that Rams game, and he wasn't really that impressive. So if the Rams really want to help Nick Foles out, they need to make sure they have a sturdy offensive line. So hats off again to Les Snead. Listen, I've been highly critical of him lately, and listen, for him to be able to pull a trade off like that, you got to tip your cap to him. You have to.
Yeah, and here's the thing for me. As I mentioned, the Rams are getting back draft picks. So they traded away Bradford, and not only did they get Foles, who I agree with you, to me he is the better talent, but they also got additional draft picks for Sam Bradford. So very interesting. I mean, when you look at Nick Foles, I really want to know why people have calmed down on him so much. His record with the Eagles, his starting record, 14-4. I don't have Bradford's record in front of me, but if you look at the percentages, I know that they're going to be night and day. So how do the Eagles, and I know they made a bunch of trades, they made a bunch of questionable moves, but how do the Eagles justify sending a guy with that type of winning percentage away for Sam Bradford? Is it just they're looking at him as a number one pick, they think that, his ceiling is higher, or what's the deal there?
Well, I don't think the Eagles front office know what the hell they're doing. I mean, you look at some of their roster moves. I mean, thank goodness. I mean, I know I bitch a lot. I mean, but think about it. I mean, there are a lot of Eagles fans on suicide watch today. You lose Jeremy Maclin. They get rid of, McCoy. It's this bromance, this Mariota fetish that Chip Kelly has. He doesn't know what he's doing. So, like I say, hey, I got to tip my cap again to Les Snead for exploiting the Philadelphia Eagles because, listen, I believe, and I was told from a source at ESPN in Philadelphia that the Eagles didn't want the Jets against Sam Bradford because that's who the Jets really wanted. The Jets wanted Sam Bradford, and the Eagles didn't want that to happen. For whatever reason. So I think they're playing high-stakes poker for Marcus Mariota. But, again, the Eagles got issues up front too, Ishmael, with the offensive line. And I don't think even if Sam Bradford is able to make it to training camp, I don't think he'd be making a full season if he was to start because their offensive line has just as many holes as the Rams do at the moment.
Right. Now, do you think he will be the starter there? Because, if I'm not mistaken, they signed Mark Sanchez recently. So do you think, are they going to have Bradford competing for that job? Have they brought Bradford there as the starter if he's healthy? Or what do you think his role will be?
I think he's going to get a chance to compete. But, who knows? I mean, the draft is, less than maybe a month or some change away. I mean, Bradford may be trade bait because you still don't know what you're going to get out of him. But I mean, think about this dilemma as an Eagles fan. You got Sam Bradford, who has a less than stellar career when it comes to being durable on the football field, and you have Mark Dirty Sanchez. I mean, it just doesn't get any better than that if you're an Eagles fan on suicide watch.
Yeah, I was going to say, you mean if you're a Cowboys fan, it doesn't get any better than that because, the Eagles are trading just everybody away. You trade one of the best running backs in the league, McCoy, to the Bills for a talented linebacker, but a guy who's coming off of a major injury. Like you said, Maclin is gone. Deshaun Jackson was traded last season. So they're a very different team, and I don't really understand exactly what route that they're going. But, I'm ecstatic. When I heard the news, I literally shouted out for joy. And that's because, I feel like Nick Foles really gives the Rams an opportunity, not just a fresh start, but I think he gives them an opportunity to win. And when you look at in the NFC West and you see what the 49ers have done, and you figure that they may come back to the field a little bit. They may not be as talented as they were, and they underperformed a little bit anyway. You look at the Seattle Seahawks, who are still going to be the favorite, but some people are expecting them to have a bit of a drop-off. The Cardinals, are a solid team. The Rams could potentially be in the mix. I don't like to say the P word here in St. Louis, but the Rams may have an opportunity to do that. Now, we've talked about the draft a little bit. How do you think this will impact the draft? As I've looked at some of the mock drafts, I've seen a lot of people have the Rams taking a wide receiver, but they do have a lot of gaps in that offensive line. What do you think is going to be their top priority now that they have Nick Foles, a guy who should, by all intents and purposes, be the number one guy?
Well, I think one of the things that the Rams are going to do now, since they got Nick Foles, and then they also made the trade for Case Keenum, and then they tendered Austin Davis, so you got your three quarterbacks there. I don't foresee the Rams drafting the quarterback. If they do draft a quarterback, I just don't see them drafting one high. If they stay at number 10, and I know a lot of people have been saying that, the Rams may take the tackle Sharif out of Iowa, but I think if the Rams take a tackle, I think they may prefer to trade down. If they stay at 10, and again, you're not doing some poking around out of Rams Park, what I've been getting is that they have eyes for Amari Cooper. I was kind of hoping that they had some eyes for DGB, but apparently Dorian Green-Beckham I don't think he's going to, fit into what the Rams may be looking for, because they're looking at him as a project. I think Amari Cooper is more of a finished project. And listen, the Rams missed out on DeAndre Hopkins and, Sammy Watkins, two guys that just came into the league and started tearing it up immediately. You don't know what's going to happen with Kenny Britt, and, the jury's still out on Stedman Bailey. So I can kind of see that happening also. But if for whatever reason the Rams trade down and acquire a couple of extra picks, and they may, pick lower in the first round. Eddie Kendricks, a linebacker out of UCLA, has a lot of speed. The Rams need to be more fast and athletic. So that's also a possibility. And I also heard them throw a quarterback name out there as well. So it's a lot of guys just in that first round that the Rams have so much flexibility with their number 10, whether they stay there or trade down. But I don't see them trading up, though.
So what about the linemen, though? Is this something that they're going to address in free agency? If so, what type of guys do you think they will target? Because we did see that Jake Long is no longer with us. We lost a couple other linemen. So that is going to be an urgent need. You don't want to go and trade for a quarterback and bring him in and get him hurt. So how are they going to address the offensive line?
I think they plan on looking in free agency, and the cupboard is really bare. I think a lot of teams may end up overpaying for Joe Barksdale. And listen, Joe Barksdale was good, but I think the Rams can do better because they can't afford to be having jailhouse breaks on the offensive line. And I think that he reached his ceiling. I mean, that's just my honest opinion. And hopefully the Rams won't get into a silly bidding war like they did with Roger Saffold, the year prior. Now, I did, and I'm sure this is out there already, that the Rams have contacted Senator Steve Wyszynski from formerly of the Oakland Raiders. He's another good fit. And also the Rams have Tim Barnes, who was an unrestricted free agent. He played at Missouri. He filled in nicely for Scott Wells when he wasn't able to give it the go. So I think the Rams got an idea where they want to go, and they can use some of that flexibility now that they already acquired two quarterbacks in one day. They acquired two quarterbacks in one day. So I think it gives them more flexibility, Ishmael, during the draft.
All right. Well, definitely the most excited about Nick Foles. Again, he's a guy that comes in with a 14-4 record, showed a lot of promise there in Philadelphia, and I think he's the guy that the Rams need, where the team can rally behind him. They can look at this guy and see past success whenever you looked at Bradford, you're looking at, like you said, potential success or potential energy, as you talked about. But when you look at Nick Foles, even though he hasn't been a starter for a long time in this league, but you see that success, and I think that that's really going to rally the team. Hopefully, Brian Quick will be back and be healthy. You've got to think that he's looking forward to having a new quarterback under center. And whether they draft a guy or whether these other guys, you talk about Kenny Britt, Stedman Bailey, um, if these guys develop and turn out to be the wide receivers that we need them to be, it could be a very good season for the Rams because we know that their defense is tough. We know their defense is solid, is stout. Not a whole lot of problems there. They're going to have to upgrade a few positions, but all in all, the defense is set. The running back position is set. We have a nice, strong running game. So the holes were quarterback and offensive lineman. We filled the one at quarterback. Now the Rams should be able to go out and get an offensive line. But I have not been very enthusiastic or excited about many of the Rams' move. We talked about the relocation deal and how that's dragged on. We talked about the Rams canceling a lot of the fan events that they've had and really have alienated the fan base a lot. But this move, I think, is really going to energize the fan base. And if I was a St. Louis Ram, if I was especially a receiver, I would be excited to see what Nick Foles can come in and do. What are your final thoughts just on this deal and how important it is or how successful it will be for the Rams?
Well, again, this was a move that needed to be made. And listen, from a PR standpoint, Les Snead again bought himself some more time because they're still going to have to win when the games count. But this was a much needed move because I felt that if they had continued down this track with Sam Bradford, you know, the well was already poisoned with the fan base as it is. But I think it would have got really nasty, not just for Les Snead, but for Sam Bradford as well. The one thing that people cannot stand is guys that play a team sport that's not willing to sacrifice for the team. And when you got guys like Chris Long giving money back, you got guys like Laurinaitis, and whether I criticize them or not, they always put the Rams first. And I always felt that Jeff Fisher and Les Snead did way too much gratuitous ass-kissing of Sam Bradford when they came into town when it wasn't even warranted. And then look what it got you. It got you chapped lips and bad breath. So the lesson that I hope that they learn from their gambling is that if your guy is not, you know, is not in lockstep with you putting the team first, even after everything else, then they're not part of this team. They're not part of what's supposed to make this franchise rise from the ashes from where it once was.
Where it once was, you mean where it is right now? We're not talking about a long history here. We haven't been good in a while. But with that said, you know,
it sounded good.
I think perfectly. Well, Nick Foles in the Rams, man in the Rams team, that sounds good to me. So I agree with you. Les Snead, you get kudos. I know Palmer gives you a lot of heat, but I'm going to give you the kudos, the props here, just like he did. And to Philly, you know, enjoy Sam Bradford. I want to tell Philly's GM, you know, Philly front office, we know that you've been getting rid of a lot of players. If you have more good players that you're getting rid of, call the St. Louis Rams. Call Les Snead. You call me, I'll transfer you over to Rams Park, patch you through. I know a couple people over there. We'll get you on the phone, get you some draft picks, get you some bums, whatever you need. If you want to give up quality players, call St. Louis. That's all I'm saying.
And you know something? I don't know what it is about the Eagles, but the Eagles have a thing for Rams players with bum disease, with terminal bum disease. You know, they get Bradley Fletcher, who now they say in Philadelphia has third and fourth degree burns because he gets burned all the time in the secondary. And now they have Dan Bradford, not Sam, but Dan Bradford. So Like I say, I'm sorry, Eagle fans, but you got the front office this time, the worst front office in the league, not the Rams. Who would have thought that?
Well, I think they're catering to the fans. Philly fans are known for what? They're known for booing people. So they're just trying to give the fans good players to boo. So I think Sam Bradford is a perfect fit. You see a lot of Bradford jerseys. They can boo them all game, and that'll make the Philadelphia fans happy. So, hey, it's a win-win situation. So with that said, once again, I'm Ishmael Sistrunk with the St. Louis American and STLAmerican.com. Palmer Alexander III. And again, Sam Bradford is gone. He's a Philadelphia Eagle, the St. Louis Rams, and the fans are going to just appreciate that Nick Foles is here. So tell us what you think about the trade. Do you think it was a good deal? Do you disagree? Do you miss Sam Bradford? Let us know. Hit that subscribe button or leave a comment below and let us know, what do you think about this deal for the St. Louis Rams? So Palmer, I know you're going to have a column coming soon on the website, so we'll look forward to that. And again, hit that subscribe button or check us out at stlamerican.com. And that's all we have for tonight. Peace.